Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's switch it over. I don't know how many people are in here right now, but I figure I could start doing it now. I told you guys that my little lesson here is going to be not that long. I'm only trying to make these lessons around 10 to 15 minutes long. What's going on, guys? Uh, this one is Unit 10, Lesson 6. But so before I start going crazy into it, for the people that are here, does anybody need this lesson sent to them right now? I know a lot of you guys have already emailed me saying that you needed it, and I've already sent it to you. But if anybody else needs it still, just let me know, and I can send it before we start. Otherwise, the only other thing that I want to mention to you guys is tried sending, I think everybody in Algebra 2 has gotten an email from me. Just a little, just checking in email. If you guys could, if I sent it to you, respond back. Just respond back. I just want to make sure you guys are doing okay. If you didn't get an email from me, that's because I already have seen you guys in chat. So I already know that you guys are able to get on here and you're able to check out the lessons. But just let me know if you guys have any trouble with iTunes U, if you have any trouble with Shobi, or anything like that. I'm going to post a video to my YouTube for the people that are having trouble in iTunes U. There is a fix for it. So I'll just do like a little guide, a step-by-step process on my iPad so you guys can watch it and see how to fix it on yours. And then hopefully you'll be able to download okay again. Um, yeah, I don't think I have anything else that I really have to add unless you guys have some questions for me as far as the tech stuff goes. But yeah, sweet, 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 sweet. I hope you guys are doing okay. How's everybody doing? Oh yeah, now everybody's getting in. Sweet. I just needed to wait a little bit. There's only like 5 people here, so I didn't want to start the lesson. We're over 20 now, so yeah, there's some people showing up. I do see some Math 12 people in here. If you guys are Math 12, we're not going to start that lesson until 4 o'clock. So you're more than welcome to hang out for the Algebra 2 lesson, but it's not necessary. But anyways, I'm just gonna go right into the lesson. I don't like trying to make these lessons too long because I gotta upload them to YouTube, and the longer they are, the longer it takes to upload. So I was gonna start off. So this lesson is Unit 10, Lesson 6, multiplying, dividing rational expressions. This is what we started last Monday. So what I'm gonna do is I just pulled this one from one of the classes. This was from second period. And in second period, we did not do part C. So I'm going to walk through the part C. Some of you guys may have already done it, but it's just a quick little refresher of what we did with multiplying fractions. And then I'm going to go to the next page and do a couple dividing ones with you. And then that's going to be the lesson today. So, as far as we'll restart here. As far as multiplying fractions go, the first thing that I said that we have to do is make sure everything is factored first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each piece of this fraction. I'm just going to simplify it down. So if I look at this top portion right here, that can be factored using GCF. So I could pull out a 2x, and I would be left with x plus 6. I can factor out the bottom portion, the denominator of that, again using GCF, and I could factor out a 4. When we get over to the other side, we can factor the top through trinomial, so it is double bubble, as some of you guys have learned. And in this case, it would be an x minus 6 and an x plus 2. And then the final part, x squared minus 36 is dots, so we can actually break that down into 2 bubbles as well. So that would be an x plus 6 and an x minus 6. So again, this lesson was from last Monday. What we did is after we factored everything down, we just checked to see if there was anything that was on top and bottom that could be canceled out. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and see if there's anything that's the same. So I can see that there's an x plus 6 on the top and an x plus 6 on the bottom. So those cancel out, they're gone. I have an x minus 6 on top and an x minus 6 on the bottom. Those are gone. I have an x plus 2 and I have an x plus 2. Those are gone. So that means we are just left with 2x over 4. And some of you guys may have simplified this up top as well, but 2x over 4, technically the 2 and the 4 can simplify down as well, and we can divide both of those by 2. And if we do so, we're just going to have 1x over 2, or you could just leave it as x over 2. Okay? So, any questions as far as the multiplying goes? Because the next part I'm going to show you guys is really based all around that right there. So if you guys feel comfortable with that part C, when we get to this back page, I just got to show you one old step. It's a new step for what we're doing today, but it's an old step because it's something you guys did all the way back in elementary and middle school. Let's see here. I got my email open too, so there's a bunch of people emailing me stuff. This shouldn't be an issue. Okay. All right, so if there's no questions with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the next page. And this page is doing division problems. So everything that we're going to do here is just dividing fractions. So I think my game plan is I'm going to do A and C with you guys right now, and then I'm even going to jump down and do part F. But the other 3 I'll leave for practice, and I can upload the answer key. And I just realized I told you guys I was going to upload the answer key for that unit 1 through 5 review, and I never did. So I'll make sure to upload that right after I'm done with this lesson. But dividing fractions. Hopefully you guys recall this little, what do they call it? Not an anagram. I don't know. These 3 letters. So these 3 letters I'm going to write down above these fractions is, oh my gosh. I was going to write GCF, but it's not GCF. KCF. And I don't know if you guys recalled it. Javon, you did join late. You're perfect for the new lesson, though. So you're okay. This is KCF, which stands for keep, change, flip. So I don't know if you guys remember the rules for it, but keep, change, flip means that that first fraction stays exactly the same. And then you change the division sign to multiplication, and then you flip the second fraction over. After you do that, you are simplifying this down just like normal multiplication. Something that we did not talk about is that cross-reducing. So you can look at numbers that are across from each other based on the corners and see if anything can be reduced down. So I'm going to look at this 15x squared and this 5x to the 8th and just see if I can simplify that down in any shape, way, or form. In this case, we can divide both of those by 5. So if we do 15 divided by 5, that's going to become a 3. And if we do 5 divided by 5, that's just going to cancel out. Well, I can also look at the x's. I have 2 x's on the top. I have 8 x's on the bottom. So I can cross 2 of them out from both of those. So this is going to become an x to the 6 on the bottom because we're subtracting 2 away from that. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So now I'm going to look at the 6y to the 5th and the 2y to the 7th and just see if anything cancels out. In this case, we can divide the 6 and 2 by 2. So this 2 is going to cancel out, and this 6 becomes a 3. We can take 5 y's out of each of these. So this is going to cancel. This is going to become y squared. And now the only other thing that looks like it can cancel out are those 3's because we have 1 3 on the top and we have 1 3 on the bottom. So technically these would be gone as well. So we did a lot of canceling out here, and all we would be left with is y squared over x to the 6. And boom. So the only new rule that we just did was keep, change, flip. And sorry, I'm shaking. I got to make sure that my mic is secured properly. Every time I bump my desk, I see that it's shaking. There we go. That's a little angled, whatever. It doesn't have to be straight on. So, any questions with that? I figure, like I said, I did A with you guys. I'm going to do part C, and then I'm going to do part F. Actually, do I want to do C? I might do D instead, because D has the factoring by grouping. And as I said in the last stream that I did with you guys, factoring by grouping is something that some of you guys struggle with. So I'm going to go down to part D next. So first step, anytime you guys see dividing with fractions, you have to make sure you follow that rule KCF first. We have to do a keep, change, flip. So the first fraction is going to stay the same. The second fraction is going to get flipped. And the sign in the middle becomes multiplication. So unlike the problem we just did in part A, this one we can't just start canceling because we have to make sure everything is factored first. So in order to factor this, we just have to follow all of those rules of factoring that we know, just like we did on the front page. 9x squared minus 1 could be factored using dots. So I can split that up into a 3x plus 1 and a 3x minus 1. I can do the bottom portion. I'm going to save that bottom portion for last because that is the guess and check. We'll stick with the easier ones for now. This one is a trinomial, so we can factor that one out. It looks like our double bubble would be an x minus 7 and an x plus 2. The bottom portion over here, that 5 minus 15x, we can factor that using GCF. And we can pull out a 5. And we'll have 1 minus, it looks like 3x. And now to factor out that other bottom portion part, we have to make sure that we're doing guess and check. And if we're doing guess and check, it's still double bubble, but there might be multiple answers for this. So we have 3x squared. That one's pretty easy to do. It's got to be 3x and x. And actually, the second part, the 2 is going to be pretty easy to do because the only thing we can multiply to get to 2 is 1 and 2. We just have to make sure we figure out the correct order. And just for time purposes, I'm going to put down the 1 first and the 2 second. Sierra, this is Unit 10, Lesson 6. So Unit 10, Lesson 6, it's the second page. And then it looks like both of these have to be positive because that 2 is positive and that 7 is positive. And again, in that last stream that I did with you guys, you can check this by multiplying the insides and multiplying the outsides. So if I were to multiply this 1 and this x together right here, that's 1x. If I were to do this 3x and this 2 over here, that would give us 6x. Well, 6 plus that 1 that we said in the middle would give us the 7 up top. Now that we have everything factored out, the last thing that we have to do is just cancel out anything that's exactly the same on top and bottom. So as far as the 3x plus 1s go, we have 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, they're gone. Be careful with the next part because it's 3x minus 1 and 1 minus 3x. They do still cancel out, but we talked about that one rule. When the numbers are backwards, when they're switched around and it's subtraction, that means that we have to put a -1 above it. Because remember, anytime that those numbers, those terms are switched in subtraction, it will always cancel out to be -1. And now I just have to do the rest of it. The only other thing that we have that's the same on top and bottom is the x plus 2 and the x plus 2. So now I'm just going to write down everything that's left over. And I'm left with a negative 1 times x minus 7 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. And then from there, we could still distribute to simplify that down more. If we distribute the negative in, we can say it is negative x plus 7 all over 5. So I'll pause for a second. I know there's a little delay from me talking to your guys' videos, so I'll give you guys a sec just to see if you have any questions of what I just did there. I need to get like some kind of like down music or down, some music to play that I can't get in trouble for. So Javon, there was a rule that we did last week. If you have two numbers, I'm going to actually do it with numbers instead of letters. If I were to do 1 minus 2 over 2 minus 1. If I subtract the top, notice that these two numbers are the same numbers. They're just flipped around with subtraction. If this ever happens and we were to simplify it down, 1 minus 2 would give us negative 1. 2 minus 1 would give us positive 1. And if you were to divide that out, you would always have a negative 1 left over. So that's why we always have to, if we're going to cancel out two things that are exactly the same but are flipped around, we have to put a negative 1 on top. Tabitha, you don't always have to distribute at the end. I only show it just in case if you get a multiple choice question that identifies it that way. Sometimes the multiple choice question will even switch that negative x and 7 around. So you just have to make sure that you recognize that they're equivalent to each other. That was a 3x minus 1, Javon, but hopefully I just answered your question with that. Yeah, I like these type of problems too. These ones are like probably my favorite ones to do because it's really just a puzzle. After you're done factoring everything and you're just canceling it out and you should see something in simplest form. So if there's no other questions with part D, the last one I'm going to do with you guys is part F, and then that's pretty much where I'm going to cut off the lesson. I'll just leave it right there. How long have we've been going for about 15 minutes now. So it's a little bit longer, but it should be okay. So some of you guys jump ahead. If you think you got what's going on, jump ahead and try to solve these. No, Sierra, you can only put one, you can only put it on the top. Because if you put it on top and bottom, if there's a negative on the top and a negative on the bottom, that means it would cancel out and become positive. So you're only allowed to do it to one. We are always going to choose the top. If we look at part F, so in part F, it is the same thing. Yes, that is just exponents. Okay, so part F. If you guys go to do part F, it is the same exact thing. You have to make sure that you follow the rules of multiplying and dividing first. So if we go to do part F and we were to flip this around, again, you can only do the keep change flip for when we're doing division. You do not do it for multiplication. So I'm going to keep that first fraction. I'm just going to rewrite it. I'm going to change that division sign to multiplication. And I have to make sure that I'm flipping that second fraction over. So I'm going to have the x squared minus x minus 20 on the top, all over the 4x squared minus 100 on the bottom. As far as the last fraction goes, because it's multiplication, we just leave it the same. Sierra, to answer your question, only on the top. So you do not put it on the bottom as well. You only do it to the top. If you still have trouble with that, Sierra, I can send me an email and I can make up an example for you. All right, so now that we have everything as multiplication, it's the same rules as multiplying. So we just have to make sure that we are factoring every one of these. So again, I'm going a little bit slower, but if you guys feel like you got this down, jump ahead of me, factor them all out, and then check to see if my answer is going to match up with yours. So this first one, I'm going to say, actually, I can do right now because this one is not going to be a guess and check, because the first thing that we need to do is pull out a 2 in all of those. So I'm going to pull out the 2, and I'm going to be left with x squared minus x minus 2. Now I'm going to do the next one right underneath it. That is a trinomial, so I could factor that out. And it should be an x, what do we got? An x plus 4 and an x minus 2. Let's see here. The next one that I'm going to do is this x squared minus x minus 20. So I'm going to have an x minus 5 and an x plus 4. On the bottom, I technically should be doing GCF first. Oh, I just noticed my purple and pink look exactly the same on here. I'll pick a different color. I'll do a darker one. This is going to be... I could pull out a 4, so it would be left with x squared minus 25. Some of you guys may have just did dots right there. The reason why I did GCF first is because some of you guys will not recognize the GCF in the next step. Next one, I could pull out a 3x, and I'll be left with an x plus 5. And then that x plus 1 on the bottom is just going to stay the same. What you guys should notice is there's still some things that are not completely factored. And in this case, it's going to be what I have in red, that x squared minus x minus 2. Technically, that could be broken down again. And it could be broken down to an x minus 2 all over, times x plus 1. So this is technically gone. And we can also factor out that x squared minus 5 into x plus 5 and x minus 5. So this is technically gone. And to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to bring the 4 down just so we don't forget about that 4. And in that other one, I'm going to bring that 2 up just so we don't forget about it. Now, just like all the other ones that we've been doing, all we have to do now is see if there's anything that's exactly the same on the top and bottom. So in this case, I'll use black to cancel out this time. So I can look at x minus 2. I do have an x minus 2 on the top. I have an x minus 2 on the bottom. They're gone. Next one's x plus 1. I do have an x plus 1 here. And if you go all the way to the third fraction, you do have an x plus 1 on the bottom over there. So those cancel out as well. I'm going to go to the second fraction. I have an x minus 5 on the top and an x minus 5 on the bottom, so they're gone. I have an x plus 4 on the top, and I have an x plus 4 on the bottom, so those cancel out. And I also have an x plus 5 and an x plus 5, so those cancel out. So that means that we are left with a 2 times 3x on the top. So 2 times 3x would give me 6x. And I'm left with a 4 on the bottom. And again, if you're not seeing what's left over, I had this 2 left over here, and I had this 3x left over here. So because it's multiplying, we still got to multiply them together. And then 6x over 4 technically just reduces down to 3x over 2. So I'll let the stream catch up again, and I'll see if there's any questions. Sierra, I'll come back and answer your question in a second. While you're doing that, I'll check some emails. live. All right. Javon is feeling good. I like it. Is everybody else feeling all right? Thumbs up in chat if you guys are actually in here, just so I make sure that you guys are good. I'm looking around just to see who's in here right now, because I was saying at the beginning of the chat, if you guys weren't, or at the beginning, if you were not here at the beginning of the live feed, I tried sending out emails to everybody that I have not seen in chat. If I did see you in chat, then I probably didn't send you an email. So, like, right now, I know you're not talking, but I'm going to pick on you. I saw Jade. Jade has been in the chat the last couple times that I've been on. So Jade is good. So I know that she's taken care of. Maggie, I don't think I sent you an email. Daisy, I don't think I sent you an email. So, like, you guys, I saw you in the chat before. I'm not worried about you guys. It's the people that haven't really talked in chat or have the weird looking names, like Ethan here. Like, I had no idea that was Ethan. So just contact me if you guys have any issues with it. And then I did see another Tabitha. Couldn't you just reduce the two? Yes. So Tabitha, if you wanted to just reduce that 2 and 4 up here. Tabitha's asking, hey, couldn't we just divide that 2 and this 4 right away, and then we didn't have to multiply them? That's fine. Either way is good. As far as the homework goes, I think I re-downloaded it. So the homework, I'll go into iTunes right now. I put the homework on here. I said that it is due tomorrow at 9 p.m. But as far as that goes, don't steal my Apple login. As far as that goes, the homework was... Oh, I never uploaded it? All right, well, I'll go do that in a second. As far as homework number 6 goes, I'll make sure that you guys have that in a little bit. It is multiplying and dividing fractions. There is some multiple choice in there. I think you guys are going to be fine. It looks pretty much identical to what we just did in this lesson. And I'm just going to leave it there. If you are not watching this live and you're about to check it out on YouTube, the lesson just ended right now. You could stop watching the video. For the people that are here, you guys, if you got any other questions, I'm more than happy to help out. This stream went a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I did have to relay some information to you guys. So, is there any other questions? Like I said, I'll get the homework uploaded in a second. If you guys can't download to iTunes or from iTunes, email me. I will be posting a YouTube showing you guys how to fix your iTunes if you can't download. Sierra, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. So if you just go to the YouTube channel, you can just watch it on there. If I have the homework on paper, Alina, if you can take a picture of it and send it into Shobi, it just makes it easier for me to grade. If you can't, then it's fine. Isn't the homework on the back of the page? If you had the paper copy, it was stapled to it, but I know some people wanted to download it on iTunes, and I guess I forgot to upload it to iTunes, so that was my bad. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to sign out. If you missed anything in the video, I'm going to upload it to YouTube now. It usually takes about 15 minutes for it to upload. I don't really think there's anything else that I have to add at the moment. Office hours. Oh, on the homework, if you guys have any questions with the homework, I'm going to start doing office hours. If you scroll down on the page that you're on right now, I put up a little calendar, and the calendar is showing you guys exactly when I will be on for office hours. There's a little picture. As of right now, office hours says 1 to 2 p.m. It's going to be every day during the week. I do not know, Austin. Or Hunter. I don't know, Hunter. what happens if we close for the year? It's some schools up here in Buffalo just officially changed it from April 20th to May 1st, I believe. So they did another week. I would say we just keep going. As you guys see, my wife just messaged too. She said we keep learning. I'm going to keep teaching. I'm going to keep going with it. If you guys are here and you guys are willing to learn lessons, I'm more than happy to do it. I mean, I'm taking two things that I completely love and mixing them together. So I love doing the math. I love working on computers and I love gaming. So if I could just mix it all together, that's just sweet. As far as the regents goes, I have yet to hear anything. The only thing we know is the middle school and elementary school exams have been canceled as of right now or postponed. I don't know if it was canceled or postponed. Mrs. Sadler's on. She can probably better answer that one. I'm not 100% sure. Um, Thank you, Maya, for hosting. Your one viewer. um, but yeah, AP exams are going to be shortened and they're going to be online exams. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Did I forget to print off the paper copy for you, Hunter? Or Ethan? I can email it to you if you can access it that way. I'm not sure about all the work. I mean, as far as my class goes, I'm not going to give you a crazy amount of work. I mean, the homework that you guys have tonight is only going to be a little bit longer than the next couple that I give you guys because I already taught you guys the first part of this lesson. All the other homeworks that we have from here on out, or even the lessons, like if a lesson is like 10 questions long, I'm going to split it up and only do 4 or 5 questions a day. I'm not going to do an entire lesson in one sitting because, for one, downloading these videos takes forever the longer it is. Okay. I have a cute dog. What dog? I'm going back at Hey PR. I'm not sure. Who's Hey PR? The one in my background? What background? Oh, that's not even my dog. I don't know what you're talking about. What dog? Behind me? I don't know. All right. Well, I am going to cut off right now because I got to start prepping for the Math 12 lesson that's going on at 4. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Like the other teachers expect me to get the work out of the sky. I can't get the work from Hunter. What I will do is I'll email Mr. B because Mr. B will be sending out paper copies. And that goes for anybody else in chat. If you guys do not have access to download from your iPad and you are in desperate need of paper, I will send out an email to Mr. B and he will send an email out to all of your teachers to contact him, and then he'll print off the papers and he'll be able to get it to you guys. But that's only if you like have no possible way of getting the paper, or I'm sorry, getting it on your iPad. You have to have paper to do it. He's not going to send it to you guys if it's just a convenience. Okay, so Ethan, you're going to have trouble getting paper copies. All right. I'll see what I can do for both of you guys. If anybody else is going to have issues with the paper, just let me know. Sierra, it's going to be homework number 6. It's going to be homework number 6. I haven't uploaded it to the iPad yet. As soon as I click end stream, I'll go do it right now so you guys can download it. And then we'll go from there. But other than that, I got to check off now. Stop by my office hours tomorrow. I think I'm looking at my other, it says from 1 to 2. So if you guys want to jump on at 1 o'clock tomorrow, I will be just sitting here on Twitch. If you don't have questions on the homework, you could stop by, you could talk to me, but that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll set you guys up. All right. So I hope you guys have an awesome evening. Stop by tomorrow if you got those homework questions. If you can't stop by, just shoot me emails like you normally do, and you'll be good to go. So I hope you guys have an awesome evening again. Love you all. Miss you all. See you soon.